We're here with Arena Football League President John Adams. Thanks for joining us today, John.
I'm happy to be here.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the league's growth, expansion, the upcoming season. So we'll start with the Atlantic City move. What kind of went into picking that location and figuring out, hey, this is a great spot, this is somewhere we really think fits the league's vision?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's heard a lot about the gaming and gambling focus that the league's going to have moving forward. And, Atlantic City is kind of like putting a stake in the sand, so to speak, of, Atlantic City is our eastern base that help execute, everything that we want to do at the league level. Proximity to Philadelphia was helpful. There's some efficiencies in how we can operate the market, but also enough distance and to create a nice rivalry between Philadelphia and create some synergies between the two markets.
Great. And then that kind of brings us to, you mentioned that rivalry. We see the battle of the Jersey Turnpike between the Flyers and the Devils. Is that the type of rivalry you're hoping to spark between the Soul and this Atlantic City team because of that proximity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I saw some social media posts or something somewhere of fans asking each other whether they were going to be an Atlantic City fan or a Philadelphia fan. It made me chuckle a little bit. But anytime there's close proximity, it creates a natural rivalry, right? I mean, you're running into each other. Obviously, there's a lot of people from Philadelphia that go down to the shore during the summertime. There's just a lot of, we're not going to force it from a league level, but I think things will happen organically with the proximity and then, just between the two coaches, hearing enough about each other through the some shared media and things of that nature that people are going to want to win their region. So it's going to be fun to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the gaming and sports betting aspect being integrated into the fan experience. How do you see that playing out, not just in Atlantic City, but kind of across the league?
Yeah, it's a big part of what we're doing. Obviously, we've talked about DraftKings, and we're working on implementing some other gaming strategies into our game itself. Atlantic City and the state of New Jersey and where they're at with their regulations makes it conducive to implement things immediately specific to gambling, and Pennsylvania is there as well. As we kind of the world of sports gaming is a little bit of the wild west, right? I mean, every state's going to do its own thing, different legislation going to happen over a period of time. But Atlantic City, everything's legal now, and Pennsylvania as well. So it gives us the ability, as we kind of start towards our future and the vision of the league, it gives us the ability to start implementing some of those things now.
That's great. And then moving on from Atlantic City to Columbus and the Destroyers coming back, what made that an attractive location for you guys?
It was just such a phenomenal market when it was here back 2004 to 2008. They averaged 14,000, 15,000 people a game. The state of Ohio itself is a big time football state. That's what people eat, breathe, live, sleep, die, football in that state. I had the opportunity to live there for 3 years. And then it kind of fits in nicely, right, with the market. There's not, there's Major League Soccer, but there's not a ton of crossover between soccer and arena football. Same with minor league baseball. I don't think they fully cannibalize each other. But outside of that, the major sport in Ohio is the Ohio State Buckeyes. So arena football fits nicely between spring ball and fall camp. So we fill a nice void there in Columbus, and that's the sentiment we've gotten a couple weeks that feedback from the media gives them something to get excited about. We've sold 1,100 plus season tickets in a little over 2 weeks. That's really a market that's primed for success and fits the model of moving forward with the new league structure. Selecting markets that we think are good arena football league markets and can be successful, versus kind of being obligated to go to a specific market because there's local investors there.
Yeah. And obviously you mentioned both teams have kind of gotten off to a great start. How do you see the Soul, and what role do you see them as a team that's been kind of a cornerstone in the league for the last 15 years, serving as either an example or like a blueprint for those teams in terms of how to run effectively and have success for a long time, as the Soul have?
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of it, right? We've had the opportunity over the years to create a very efficient and effective business operation model here in Philadelphia. We're able to take that model and move it up to Albany, and everyone saw the success that Albany had up there. As we go out to these new markets, the league is going to oversee directly the creation of that business model, instead of being kind of subject to what whoever the local owner is and how they want to operate the team. Now we have some control over how these organizations get set up and make sure they're getting set up in a way that can be successful over the long term. And the Philadelphia Albany model is the foundation of that.
Great. And then 2 more questions for you. One of the great aspects of the Arena Football League is kind of how each team is part of their community. So what role do you see the league playing in helping those teams, especially these expansion franchises, kind of connect with and contribute to those communities?
Well, it's part of who we are, right? The Arena Football League, going back from day one of its biggest features is the ability to engage with the players and the coaches and have a more intimate relationship with them. It's kind of built into every aspect of the game when you're talking about the field and how close you are, but also the autograph sessions after the games, and then just the ability to see the guys out in the community and interact with them. There's not a distance, there's not a wall. These guys love the attention. They love it when fans come up and say hello. So it's just that element is natural with the Arena Football League, and we're not going to bring coaches and executives on board and these new teams if they don't understand that vision of the opportunity. There's a responsibility when you go into a market to be part of that community and help that community grow and create something special. So I think it's about who you bring into the fold, and who you bring in as part of the league have to have that mindset, and if they don't, they won't be part of the league.
Yeah. Great. And then last thing for you, just what are your expectations for the league as a whole this year?
I think we're going to build on last year. I know we only had 4 teams last year, but it was a successful season for having 4 teams. We'll bump that up to 6, and we'll continue to grow. But I think most importantly for this year, for this league, is at a high level, at the league level, finish our restructure. Bring in partners that are in line with our vision. And I think as you see over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks, there's going to be a lot of exciting announcements and partnerships announced that are going to be a foundation for this league getting back to where it was in those 04 to 08 years, and even better. I think we have a lot of work to do. There's not able to do everything all at once with the small staff that we have right now, but that staff's going to grow. And we see this as a big opportunity to, be trendsetters in professional sports leagues. Getting in, the new teams getting in now, Columbus and Atlantic City have the opportunity to get in, kind of at the ground floor and be part of, significant growth over the next, 3 to 7 years.
Great. Well, thank you so much, John. We appreciate you sitting down with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.